All right, I'm really happy today. You guys know I'm a Christmas tree farmer, and I've been going out and visiting a couple other farms, and this is a farm that's directly related to Christmas tree farming. This is Bruce Summers. He runs River Reforestation, and they're lifting noble fir trees actually for a Christmas tree farm today, and we're going to go through the process. So thank you, Bruce, for having us out.
You're welcome.
So first of all, how many acres is your farm?
52 total acres.
And can you remind me how many trees total you...
We ship just over 4.5 million trees per year. Of course, it's a 2-year tree, so there's about, well, there's 9 million on the farm altogether. So today we had to wait hour and a half or so, 2 hours to start because the temperature was down below freezing. We like to wait at least till it comes up above freezing to start lifting the trees and exposing those roots to the cold air. Not that it won't, the cold kills them because they're going to go in the freezer at 28 degrees anyway, but the freeze drying effect that will get, that could cause the hairs on the roots to die is what we're trying to avoid. So just as it's one of those rule of thumb type farming things, or just wait till it's over freezing and start just in case.
It's above freezing now, and the crew is out in the field harvesting Christmas trees. Let's go out there and see how it's done. Okay, Bruce, tell me what we're seeing here.
So, it's a egg doll lifting machine. It goes underneath, and what it's doing, it's got a U-shaped blade on the front that's picking the trees up, and then the fingers on the back are shaking at least most of the dirt out and loosening it up for the guys so they can pull them out without tearing the roots off too bad. And they're shaking the remainder of the dirt out and just putting them in piles, and they get loaded into these, and these are the same bins we saw over at the shed. They're getting filled up with unprocessed trees.
Trees are pulled. About what time of year are most of your trees pulled, and when do most people put them back in the ground?
Right now, we're right in the middle of our harvest season. In fact, we're about 60% completed with our harvest right now. Most of the crop, about 95% of it, is a 1-1, which we start from a seed and we grow it for 1 year. We dig it up, spread them out, transplant them, grow them for a second year, and then this is a second year tree behind me. What you're going to see, the noble fir actually is grown in a greenhouse, and we get a 1-year tree from the greenhouse and we transplant that for the second year.
Before you start pulling, there has to be a certain number of days below a certain temperature, is that correct?
Doug, several studies were done by a Weyerhaeuser back in the 70s on trees and the best time to transplant and all that, and they reached their maximum dormancy stage, which is when you want to transplant anything, when it's least active for the least amount of stress. And they found that when a Doug fir tree has reached 400 hours below 42 degrees temperature, cumulative, then that puts them in their most dormant state.
What temperature is your freezer or your cooler?
We keep the cooler at about 34 to 36 degrees. That's just enough above freezing, but cool enough to keep, fungus and pathogens from wanting to grow inside the bag.
We're digging Christmas trees today. I'm a Christmas tree farmer. I usually like to plant mine around President's Day. Do you have any idea when the farm that you're digging for today plans to? They will wait until, because these are Christmas trees and they're going in fields, they got to wait till the fields dry and they can get out and get the fields prepped. So these trees will actually go into the freezer next week. And Holiday Tree Farms is the one we're going for. They will freeze them, and then they'll thaw them out and start planting probably April. We have a really sandy loam, and of course that's ideal for growing trees because of our harvest season is right now in the winter time. So the quicker the soil dries out and you can lift during the tree dormancy, the better.
Unfortunately, because of sandy loam, our organic matter typically runs around 1 to 1.5%, which is pretty low, of course. So we try to do as many soil amendments as we can to keep that up. Once the trees are lifted in the field and they come in here, and this is where we store what we call the raw tree temporarily. These are all full of trees that haven't been counted or sorted yet. They're fresh out of the field. They're just waiting for their next turn in through the packing facility. So you can see as they come in, the guys here are loading, just putting them up on the tables for the sorters to count. And you can see they're making sure they're nice and separated. All the roots are hanging straight down, and they're also counting them. So they're counting into bundles of 10, and then they're putting them on the conveyor belt behind them. So they come down here. She's grabbing 2 bundles, so she's putting 20 trees in each slot, and you can see the table is marked there in inches, so she knows exactly where to put them for the right length. And then there's a saw blade underneath the cover, and it's cutting all the roots off, and they come out nice and trim and uniform. They put them in the bag, and then they'll give them a short squirt of water in the bag, and then they're strapped and out the door.
Per bag?
There's 120 in each bag. We can do about 150,000 a day.
Hope you enjoyed our trip to Lewis River Reforestation. Please consider subscribing right here to the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business. My job is teaching, including horticulture, and homestead projects, including farming, gardening, and outdoor projects, are my passion. Here we got to see 52-acre farm produce 9 million trees, ship 4.5 million a year. There's more of that to come.